Water is life. Respect the fire. We've got too much of it. Way too much right now. Too much fire needs to be tempered. We pray that this is so. Welcome. Misty, thank you for being here. Angie, much love be with you. Trevor, good morning. Today is a special day. There are shifts in the world that are so beautiful and profound, and they happen before we recognize the experience, the events. This is much the same way it happens for ice. When we shift our internal equilibrium, when we align with more joy and love and gratitude, this will have an effect in a little bit. So when you can tune into the deep shifts in the earth, first of all, it's so much easier to stay positive and inspired because you feel her inspiration and love. And you can recognize with your mind that this always means, okay, good things are in the works. So you get ahead of it. We're here to get ahead of it together. We're here to be together as we get into the flow. Oh, okay. Shannon, Tom, good to see you. Thank you for this. Pendulum. I'm going to start more slowly today. I'm often like running out the gate, but this is actually deeper than ever. So we're gonna say hello with grace and build it. This is a pendulum that Tom has made. They are available. We can share them with you. We got to get them up on the website, but know that they're here. If you want them, reach out, give a message. Pendulums are one of the most amazing tools for intuition. You say, show me yes. Start spinning one way. It'll show you what your yes is. Neutral. Show me no. So that's, whoa. Wow. Neutral. So that's very common. Yes is clockwise, no is counterclockwise. Sometimes they shake back and forth, swing back and forth. Sometimes it's opposite, but you do that every time. And then you ask questions. And when you ask questions, you're getting clear answers. You can feel the spirit. You might not be able to feel it at first. For those who are like, you're making it spin, you could even think of it that way, that it's the subconscious, it's the immediate part of you that knows how to make it. And as it spins, you're getting a response from the deeper truth before mental layers of confusion and reflection and interaction and rebellion all get in the way. So this is cutting straight through into your divine self within. Divine self within. The divine one within you knows so much more about life and existence and presence. And we can't be fully with this part of ourselves because we have layers of karma still. And the layers of karma we bear are here for us to do away with, for us to compost and transform. So much of this site is about teaching you how to do this in ways that allow you to be free, liberated, centered, to go much deeper into ultimately yourself. And the journey into yourself is the journey into the earth. And that is what today is about, the journey into the earth. Claudia, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Arlene. Yes, they are. Welcome here, Arlene. If you've been here before, I haven't seen you, and it's nice for you to be with us. Oh, goodness. Good news. 6 people, 6 likes. Oh, thank you. Your likes are always appreciated. Things are picking up, folks. It's wonderful. If you're new, welcome. A lot of new people have been arriving, and this is a joyful place. We're making a sanctuary. We have a membership space through the website that you can participate in that is a safe sanctuary. Like no one else could get in there. But ultimately, the mission of this work is to create safe space within yourself and then for you with others. We need this. All over the world, we need this because there's chaos moving in a very real way. Foundations of stability have begun shifting in weather systems, in emotional systems, in spiritual systems, in political systems. The norms are changing. And when norms change, there is great crisis in every direction because forces crash that didn't used to conflict. But there's also great opportunity. This is a common and deep theme, that to see the opportunity within crisis is your ability to witness the birth that springs out of the death. When you see what's dying, but you see through what's dying into what is being created, you become what you see. What you see is what you are. The more you stare at the joy and the hope, the more you're going to be able to be that in your daily life much faster than other people. And the more you can be this with us together, we generate it for others. So we draw other people into a safe space. And like attracts like. So anyone who's starting to entertain and respect and appreciate this inspiration within themselves is going to be attracted to what we do. And it's needed. There's a real value in circling with others who believe in hope amidst these times. To believe in the hope amidst these times, we have to be able to see through the deaths. This is a time of death. A lot is dying. And seeing and being present with the new birth is not about being blind to the pain. It's not about being blind to the goodbye. Saying goodbye to what dies is crucial. And when you say goodbye, you have to see it in ways that you never could. And for this reason, we need help. We need guidance. And that's what today is about. There is a divine dance. It's always been happening. It's been here for a very long time. And yet the work of the past has largely been focused upon dissolving conflicting karmas. By pitting karmas, momentums of negative energies against each other, the earth has created the opportunity for new soil. When you take everything like the desire, the drive, the dream, you people over the course of centuries and millennia using their will to dream of their group being better than another group, of their will being stronger than another's will. This is a relatively toxic dream, but it's a small-minded dream. It's not powerful, and it's been shared by many, 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 many. And thus pitting these against each other over time has forged something. We have forged a world full of possibilities. Many of these possibilities, in some cases, the worst of these possibilities dominated because they had such a will to thrive. But now we are able to witness them in a new way. And thus the many opportunities available within different cultures are made available to all of us. As you begin to see, as you begin to sense the presence, the dimension amidst the world that we share, go a little crazy. If you don't go a little crazy, it's not working yet. Maintaining a coherent focus through all of this is very challenging, and it's extremely unlikely that most of us are born into a situation where it's like, oh, you can just keep being that. No, you can't keep being what you were when you were born, because you must become something that becomes in relation to all these other ways. And you do that by learning to turn, by learning to tune, by learning to tune. How do you tune? You focus. How do you focus? You realize that angels are all here. The gods are all real. Now, after having gotten your attention with the gods in the thumbnail, I'm going to ask you to tune this down. There really is one universal divine consciousness, one God. The others, what we've known as gods, what many cultures knew as gods throughout eons, very humble beings. They were present as gods because in many cases, they were the one divine connection. So beings of a far less present and evolved state were able to surrender into divine presence by saying, you are it. So they could look at Horus and say, you are God. They could look at Zeus and say, you are God. They could look at Zoroaster and say, you are God. Any one of these beings could be the nexus for complete admittance into divine consciousness. But it was rudimentary. They were working on getting divine presence into the human sphere, into the fields of energy that were becoming human. And they were getting divine presence, sort of like a colonization of the human sphere. You take a body, you die to what you've known and are born into a body. Might not have thought about it this way. You arrive at Earth and you die to who you used to be. It's like a death. Interesting, right? It's like a death to arrive at Earth and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And so you forget everything and you're born into this very different space. And the whole point is to be present with your eyes and your taste and your consciousness designed around language. So then you begin to think with the language. And once you begin to think with the language and see with your eyes and value eating and breathing air and recognizing seasons, your consciousness is focused on creating life in this human sphere. And then you're in a subdivision, you're Greek or you're Persian. When you begin to channel your energy into these cultural presences, you were channeling your energy into an existence. You were making something. The course of human history, they were making something. We were making something that now exists. So now we're under different conditions. Now is a time when people have largely forgotten the old gods. And as they come back, whoa. Fewer of you know about this, but some of you do, because you talk to me. You get your mind open to the point where you start talking, any of them, they respond like that. Any divine presence will start talking back to you the second you talk. Oh, this is where the game begins. It begins here. You got to make choices. You got to make choices. My invitation to you comes through Thoth. That's the biggest choice I made. The choice to make a commitment is the choice to realize that you don't want this. You don't want this. You don't want to run from being to being to being to being to being to being. You want to know why? You deteriorate your presence. When you deteriorate your presence, you become susceptible to being completely overwhelmed by entities they're not all that. You know, even a ghost of someone who's stuck can overwhelm you if you lose your presence. Your presence is something you earn. You create it over time by not wasting your energy, By maintaining a flow that builds and builds and builds, you become someone who can engage and talk and ultimately see. You're seeing the breadth of possibility here. And again, I emphasize, you can't see it if you don't have the capacity to channel and focus your energy once you do see it, because you'll be overwhelmed. It's better to go blind. I want you to be present with that. It's better not to see. This is why fluorine has been put in the water. I am not kidding. Fluorine is in many of the water systems all across the country. This creates a shield, a calcified shield around your pineal gland, which inhibits how much you can see. It keeps your third eye asleep. It's real. And it's not a malicious conspiracy. It's designed to keep people chill. Then once you start realizing that this isn't good for you, you have to be the one that makes a change. You have to be the one. You have to be the one that says, I want to open my eyes. I want to wake up. You're going to start valuing where your water comes from first. I want to tell you certain foundations that you have to believe for this to work. All of the angels and guides and saints and ascended masters love each other. They all do. They all do. I'm not mentioning names. They all do. If you ever encounter an entity that talks you out of loving and being present with the universal Gaian consciousness. So universal Gaian consciousness means the window that Gaia gives you into the rest of the universe. So you're thoroughly here. You're not trying to pretend you know everything. You're like dissolving in the great central sun. You're here. And you're here in her attunement that shows you the universe. If this doesn't make sense, just believe me that it works. So you're here in the universal Gaian consciousness. All the angels and saints and masters, they all love each other. They're all playing roles here. They were never fighting. They were never really fighting. It was always a play that they put on for us. They put it on for us to digest energy, to teach us how to manifest energy, and then to hold it in check. Grow, prune back your hatred. Grow, prune back your dominance. Grow, prune back your will to think that you're everything. Grow, prune back. Grow, prune back. They pruned back by fighting. But their fights, they weren't fighting. They weren't fighting. All these stories have always been children's stories. So when you reach to them, understand that first and foremost. Don't look to the past. Don't look to the past for the answers. They're right here. You can talk to Isis like that. You can talk to Lakshmi like that. You can talk to Shiva like that. Now, when I learned this, I did this. It was very, very, very exciting for me. It also blew my mind apart and fried me. And only over time did I start realizing what I was doing. See, one of the most profound problems with learning to talk, connect, communicate, engage telepathically with all of these beings is that everything that you don't know is you within you gets in the way. In so many ways, this is the most crucial lesson that I have to share with you today. In so many ways. Everything that is you, your karma, your baggage, your fear, your unrecognized or unappealing desire, all of it gets in the way. So you'll be talking, you'll be connecting, and it's a clear connection for a little bit. You could say, this is them. This is really Thoth. And then all of a sudden it's not. Because a part of you gets in the way. And you keep talking as if it's you you're talking to, or as if it's him you're talking to, and it's not. It's you. Now you're talking to yourself. And then you hear something that like doesn't sound divine, and you're like, see, Thoth is full of bullshit. No, you didn't know how to recognize where You missed it. You broke the connection. Now, why is this possible? This is possible because you can't afford to have a truly vibrant, fully earth-shatteringly present, ongoing connection. Now, if you had a truly vibrant, let's see if I can remember all the terms I used. If you had a fully vibrant, truly transcendent, earth-shattering connection with a divine angel, you would be susceptible to carrying that level of intensity and presence into your connection with the angry spirit of the wheat that is being poisoned. And the angry spirit of the wheat in the wheat field that's being poisoned would look just as strong and powerful to you as Thoth. This is what happens when you're learning to connect in these ways. So now you've gone from being present with Thoth in a transformational, beautiful way, and all of a sudden the anger of the wheat spirit is you're consumed with hatred. And I shit you not, you get a gluten intolerance. This is really how it works. It's funny. There's so many layers to how these things play out that the way I was taught by Thoth is to stay focused and humble. You engage from the start from a center that's monotone. Why would you want this? Isn't this less developed? No. This is deep. The only way to get into this space is to actually be present from the center. And you are essentially working through an analogy of the center. You're working in a harmonic relationship to the center of the earth. I know this seems kind of broad, but it's how it works in your mind. You're in the center, and it's peaceful and it's calm. And you're reaching outward to tune in to a presence in the world. And it starts monotone. This gives you a window. This gives you a window. As long as you keep it monotone, you can learn to not be overwhelmed. Thus, when the connection starts being like, and really, I hate how they did this to me, and and they really treated you badly. So you're projecting. You're thinking that the angel is starting to like mirror your frustrations. And then it's like, wait a second, what? Why would Thoth think that? Thoth doesn't think that. That's you. You started projecting. This is the work. You enter this field of awareness and you start seeing all this garbage, psychic, spiritual garbage from you and this pollution in the psychic, spiritual space. And you have to be able to filter it out. And the more you make a commitment to do so, the more you can stay in contact and connection with a god or an angel. Here's the game. Who are you going to learn from? Here's how it works. Most of you already have several personal, deep connections. I know it. I've talked to you. You've already made prayers for help and you've gotten an answer. In many cases, this might be through your heritage or through a focus that you've shared. You got fascinated by Greek mythology, perhaps. You got into yoga, so you're closer to Shiva. So you make a prayer and it's heard. And they make choices. They're like, you take them. And so one of them shows up for you in a dream. How many of you had, I would love it if you'd share. How many of you had a dream in the past year in which an angel or a deity has been there? How many of you have made a prayer within the last year and you've had a vibrant vision of a response? Boom, there's your hello. There's your invitation. Now, what do you do with it? That was given to you as an anchor. Now you got to work. You got to say, okay, I trust that. Be with it. You make a level of commitment to this being and you say, help me more. Teach me. What do you need from me? And if you say it enough, they'll hear you. Now, they'll hear you from the beginning, but I'll tell you what they do. You say, oh, yeah, that's really great. Could you tell me more? They say, what? And you say, oh, okay, I guess maybe that wasn't real. And you wander off and you go watch YouTube or whatever. And then you do it again. You're like, oh man, I remember I had that dream about Lakshmi. Hey, I wonder if she's still listening to me. No, she couldn't be listening to me. I'm just me. That wouldn't be a big. And she's saying hello, hello, right in the middle of your doubt. She's saying hello. Uh, guess I can't hear you. So you make it louder. How are you going to make it louder? You do something. You do something. What do you do? Well, if you don't know what to do yet, you do something in relation to them. So if you want to connect with Shiva, do some yoga. It's a divine pathway. If you want to talk to Thoth, do the 12 chakra meditation in the key ring. Now, this is what I did. I Thoth appeared to me. He appeared to me once, and I didn't fully believe it. And for years, I would just sort of remember it, and then I would pull away, and I would remember it, and I'd pull away. Then he appeared again, more vibrantly, and I'm like, okay, this is real. Just trust it. And when I held my trust, he started teaching me. And first, he taught me something simple that helped me stay in touch with him. This is what they will all do with you. They will teach you something simple that will help you stay in touch. If you want to do this with Thoth, do the keyring meditation and do it again and do it again and do it again. It keeps you in tune with him. And as you tune with him, you're present in a way that can begin to bring this consciousness into your daily experience. So you start to think more in relation to him. And then you take it to the next level. You say, I want to open my eyes more. And when I get confused, I'm going to recenter with you. So you start filtering your life experience in relation to this commitment you're making. And thus you can afford to be more aware. You can afford to have a more vibrant and present consciousness. Your third eye opens, your kundalini rises, and there's a perspective. There's a shift change that happens that allows you to exist, to experience life in relation to this entirely new consciousness. Now, the gift here is that the 12 chakra meditation does not just tune you to Thoth, it tunes you to a universal Gaian consciousness that is far more accessible to all these other presences. So ultimately, you end up in the space I'm in. I can connect with any of these beings like that the second I try. The discipline is not to. The discipline is to do so with intention and consciousness. And as you do, there's a window here. They'll tell you what they believe would be an appropriate length of time to engage. And as you learn to feel it, you say, you release with grace and you go back to your center. You go back to your practice. This is what they do. So after you've made a commitment for a while, they start to play. They start to say, hey, I think you should learn that from Michael. And they pass you. Energetically, they pass you from one to another. And you get to say, I did not like that. And you can. But in that case, they made their choices on purpose. So if you were sent to Michael to learn something and you say you don't like it, well, it might be harder to learn that lesson elsewhere. It might take a little longer. So it's you that gets to say yes. And if you say yes, you'll learn more. Their encouragement to me was don't make a long-term commitment with more than 6. You can keep your slots open, keep some slots open. Don't make a long-term commitment with more than 6. Your spirit just can't really handle it well. You can have long over the course of life connections with more than that, but some of them are going to be far less pronounced. They're not going to be in your life monthly. And this translates into real presence, real experience. My guardian angel, my mother sang me songs in relation to Bridget, the fire goddess of Ireland, who also became a Christian saint. And she did this for real. She became part of the Christian tradition in order to carry a continuity from the old ways into the new, and to show people a way to integrate them beneath the surface. And that often happened through music. So when my music comes to life, Bridget's often with me. Now, you can't do 12 things well in this lifetime, no offense, but they translate into teaching you something that becomes part of your life. Shiva teaches me yoga and guides me into into a yogic presence that it needs a certain level of sustenance. I have to have 3 good practices a week. And I really need some every day. If I don't get some every day, it doesn't work. And once I've been with Shiva for this long, and I promise you it works much better if you recognize it in this depth. You can just do the yoga, but if you recognize that what you're doing is being present with the divine, gives you a whole other depth of awareness. These are the choices I've made that I invite you into, but I don't try to give them all to you. I mostly give you my connections with Thoth and Shiva. This is what I encourage regularly. In some part, that's because I'm inviting you to have the space to have bring your own history into this and still work with what we're giving you here. I do share other elements. I have a very strong connection with Mary Magdalene. By the way, she and Shiva, she and Jesus don't always agree on everything. And I tend to stay with her. When I go through critical transformations, she's often there for me. But this isn't work that she's ever invited me to teach on an ongoing basis. This is Jesus and Mary play a much more personal role, and they are not asking for a lot of like individuals to teach their work to other people. There's plenty of that out there. A lot of it has been bent and distorted. So they're working with that. But if you could get to them directly, you're going to have a very different relationship with them than you might experience if you live through the projections of how some people implement it in the world. Basically, don't make them accountable for the way everybody else tries to teach their work. It's not what it is. There's one last point, and I'd love you to consider any questions you have about this because there's so much involved in it, and I'd love to be more engaged. There is, it's a game. It's a divine game on a level that has never been fully realized because we're entering a new time where we are all truly invited to make these choices. If you have a fascination with a particular tradition, get in touch with who they prayed to. How did they pray? Pray a little in that way, it'll be there for you. As you tune into that, start to recognize how it affects your life because this is all about harmonics. This is all about how can you harmonize different elements in your life so you can have a rich and beautiful presence here. You can't make lots of contradictory music work at once. It doesn't happen. But Thoth and Shiva are very strong together, and they've shown me how to work with them in a way that I'm giving to you. And it's an incredible foundation. I promise you, it's in harmony. It's in harmony. The yoga and the Indian and Egyptian heritage are in harmony in this way. And from this divine attunement, you can be very present with the other angels that I work with, who I talk about here. But you can also be present with many others if you learn to work it into your life. This is the beauty. This is the divine dance, song. And it's a game. And it's a game where there is no need to lose anything but your fear. There is no need to lose anything but your pain. When you first see them, you might see fear. It's your fear. When you first see them, you might see viciousness. It's yours. They will presence exactly the ferociousness that's necessary to get you to let go of your shit. Better handle your shit or your shit will handle you. So I want to share a poem with you and then questions. And I'm going to push the questions as if you can all cap them, although I do have my more appropriate glasses. But if you can all cap them, it's a lot easier for me. So be with this, okay? Defy common sense with the nature in you. Leave what you've sown and then harvest your due. Consequences always come through. You better handle your shit, lest your shit handle you. The earth lays it down, never pray to redo. There's always an angel witnessing you. These seasons are spiced, and each moment is new, and the gods all have names. and they're riding with you. The first part is in many ways the most important. Defy common sense with the nature in you. Leave what you've sown and then harvest your due. Let go of your old dreams. Let go of your old dreams. Let them go. If they're right for you in the future, they'll come back to you. But in so many cases, people have invested so much in what you've wanted and what you've thought you would be, what you thought you wanted, that you don't know how to give up because you think, oh, I can't give up on all this investment that I've made. I've been dreaming of this for so long. I don't want to think of this as a waste. It's not a waste. I promise you, it all comes back to you. You have sown dreams. Leave them. Leave them. You will harvest what is due to you. My experience was that the earth gives me more than I'm asking for. And when my life is not working, it's often because I have been unable and ultimately unwilling to accept more. And the earth is trying to give me more. This is well beyond basic law of attraction BS. This is not just getting what you want. This is recognizing that the earth wants the best for you. And you are not the best judge of what the best is. Angels are. I'm doing my best to help you humble yourself and learn how to see and feel and breathe that in. The gift that the earth is giving you is what you're due. But in order to accept what you're due, what's due to you, harvest your due, in order to accept it, you have to appreciate that you've probably always lived with a confusion of intentions. You've always tried to align your mother's and your father's dreams for you and your teacher's dream for you and the dream you had in high school. You've tried to make all these things work together. You've tried to make a dream that would alleviate your resentment that, you had to live through a hard time for 2 years when you were 17 or when you were 23. You've always been making choices with a mixture of conscious intention and the drive to just kind of make things okay that are uncomfortable. When you tune into your body, the nature in you, when you tune into your body and you start to feel resonance with your cells, so you're feeling the resonance that ultimately creates wounds, cancer, lymph node problems, Parkinson's, like the foundations of so many diseases are imbalanced resonance that you carry with you. When you tune in and you start to feel this resonance, so to the point where you don't want to be uncomfortable, you just can't bear an ongoing tension. So you tune into it and you ask what it is. And almost always what you're going to find is a conflict between what the world is trying to give you and what you're trying to make real, what you're carrying from the past. And my invitation to you is to accept that what you were trying to make real is likely not as good. And you might even think you're being humble by downgrading your desire and your expectation. If you surrender this, the world will give you something back that's better and more beautiful. And I'd be so honored to be a part of you doing this in your life. All right. Any questions? There's a lot happening, people. There's a lot happening. And one of the most important things you can do is become more aware. And a lot of what we've talked about so far today is why people can't and don't. Because you have to accept so much more than many people are willing to. So many folks want to wake up and like have psychedelic experiences that are extreme and exciting that they can tell a story about. So many people they want to be able to astral travel for whatever reason. My invitation is make your goal about getting more present in your body. When you were a spiritual being, you were astral traveling all the time. What's so exciting about traveling around in the way that's normal to you? When you were a spiritual being, you were saying one of the coolest things I could possibly do is learn to be present in a body, in a human body on earth. For all sorts of reasons, you made this choice. And I'm here telling you, you're not even really present in your body. One of the reasons people don't feel the subtle changes energetically that indicates that there's a presence trying to connect with you. Like this is we're little radio beacons, okay? We're little antennae. Our spirit picks up on energy that's trying to connect to us all the time. And much of it is external. Much of it is actually another being trying to say hello. An old friend, the higher self of an old friend tries to connect with you before you feel the impulse to call them. So as you tune to become more conscious, you're feeling more. But when you feel more, things can hurt more. So then you have a drive to be more numb. So if you want to feel more, you have to be willing to work with these forces. You have to be willing to recognize them early. And if you do, you can change them. So the same energy that can make you feel very overwhelmed could be something that's just an indication to you to, oh yeah, you know what? I've been carrying resentment at that old friend. Realistically, that's what I did. I resented them for something that happened 20 years ago. Do I want to do that? I can either come to terms with the fact that I've been resenting someone for 20 years. By the way, I just came to terms with this about someone. I can either come to terms with the fact that I've been resenting someone for 20 years, or I can go numb so I don't have to feel it. If I open and feel, I have to feel the resentment. So essentially, it's like you feel it like you're resenting yourself because they don't want it. They had to create walls with you. This person had to create walls with me because I was resenting them. I was holding them accountable for triggering my pain. That was my pain. They were doing it. They were triggering my pain. So I resented them. And ultimately, they put up a wall. So the resentment bounces back. And so I'm feeling the resentment like this. And then I'm feeling this. And I have two choices. Am I going to go conscious? Or am I going to go numb? If I go numb, that resentment still lives inside me, poking me, but I don't really feel it because I'm numb. So I don't deal with it. So I live as 30% of a person. The game, the dance, the song of the gods is to say, I'm scared. I'm overwhelmed by all this. Admit it. Admit it. I'm scared. I'm overwhelmed by all this. Be scared. If you're not fucking scared as you start to wake up, there's a problem. You're not really awake and you're being sloppy and you're going to get yourself hurt. Be scared. Be scared in a conscious way. In the same way you don't think about being scared of the fire on the stove, but believe me, you're too scared to put your finger in the fire on the stove, and that's smart. Be aware of how intense it is to wake up. Don't say, I want it, I want it, I want it. Say, I want to be conscious and make me mature enough, strong enough, aware enough to do so. Who is it that's here to help you? I ask you again, what have you ever prayed to? Who have you ever prayed to in your life? Who have you ever received a dream from? Has there ever been a divine presence, an angel that has made a big impression on you? Did one of your teachers read you a story from a Native American that really got into you, that you remember? Can you trace that? Were they praying? Were they praying to Great Spirit? To Kashla? Who? Follow, trace it. And then you do that too. And you say, hi, they're there. They're here. And if they are an appropriate guide to help you, if they are appropriate presence to help you, they'll help you. The reason this matters so much, is because a personal presence where you're simply learning about things from books can never give you the dimension that occurs when you understand how present angels and saints and ascended masters are. Allowing the connection is a gift in and of itself because you get this beautiful, intimate love. In most cases, it can be a love that transcends any love you know how to experience in human form. But don't want that. Just know it, but don't want it. Because if it's not being given to you, they're smarter than you are. Like, think of it that way, all right? They're smarter and more aware than you are. They're smarter than I am. So as I humble myself to it, I say, all right, they'll turn up the volume when they're ready. If I'm pissed because I'm stuck, I need to say, hi, even louder. This is devotion. This is, you manifest the devotion, be it. You bring the strength, you bring the volume, then they'll match you. And as they do, they're going to help you navigate what's happening. They're going to help you see the depth. One of the things that happens a lot, my third eye will show me these moments that are critical transitions, that it's like this. Like imagine there's like a part of my mind that's like this all the time. And all of a sudden I'll see the energy go like this. And all of a sudden I'll be able to see the depth. So I thought something was flat, and then it'll break apart and it'll go like this. When I see this in my mind's eye, I go to feel it. I say, where is it? And I feel it and I allow it. I breathe with it. And then I experience that greater depth. As I experience that greater depth, I get to be a little excited. Like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And I want to bring you into some of that excitement. Like the presence of these mini miracles, just in my experience, just keeps going. Like I am getting shown more and more depth beyond what I was ever able to perceive before. And you're welcome to hold me. Like I am a teacher in this way, and there's a depth of presence to connecting with an angel that it can be better to work with a human. I want you to be able to trust that I do my absolute best to convey the lessons they teach me. That does not by any means mean that everything through my mouth is perfect and divine. It means that I do my best. When I doubt, when I falter, when I fail, I bring it into my divine guidance and I say, help, show me. And I do as much work as I can. So in many ways, when you accept any teacher in any form, you're essentially saying, I'm going to accept that they know enough I do to make it worthwhile, So even though they carry their own challenges and their edge is limited, I'm going to be able to grow and evolve a lot with their presence and guidance, and ideally to the point where you can begin making these connections yourself. If you can't, don't worry. Like, that's why I'm teaching the key ring. That's why I said, Thoth, what do I do? When people want to learn from me, when I was younger, I would be able to go in and read someone. Like in my 20s, I learned how to do this. I remember, I learned to hold someone's hand and just shake their hand. So I would tune into their vibration, and then I could just tell them what was going on in their life. I would blow people away. And for years, I was so immature that I would just be like, yeah, I did that. That's exciting. And over time, some people would bump into me again, and then I would slowly learn to hear more divine guidance that said, hey, you spun that person out. Like I showed them a hell of a lot, but at what gift? Did that help them? Was that really the best thing for them? So I started to be more humble. Like, yeah, I've got a lot of divine gifts here. This is really amazing, but it's actually good for someone. Just because I can tell them that I know that they've been lonely and crying, just because I can tell someone that it looks like, they're in a relationship that's really hurting them, just because I can tell someone that it looks like they're going to make a decision that's really bad for them, doesn't mean that I'm holding them in a way that helps them make a good decision. There's a whole art form to being able to build upon psychic spiritual awareness. And so when I said, I got really humble to like, what is the best way I can support people? And Thoth said, here's this work. And that translates into, I was amazed and just continue to be unbelievably grateful to know that the yogic work I was doing worked with Thoth. So I'm offering yoga that's in tune with the 12 chakras. So the work reinforces itself. And so then on this channel, I'm offering these meditations every week. And on the Wild Chakra Yoga channel, you can do yoga that's in tune with the meditations, and they all reinforce the same themes. This is what they taught me would be the best thing I can do to help you. And you can hold this. You can hold this, and by way of holding these practices, you can hold me. And holding me means keeping it real here. A spiritual teacher means if you keep doing these practices, you are now holding my energy. You're holding energy that comes through me. When you hold energy that comes through me, that means if I don't take good care of myself for a week, like last night, I ate a ridiculously large hamburger and it gave me a stomachache. That would negatively affect you on a certain level. Now it's subtle, but it could at the best, it would mean you might be susceptible to making a similar mistake. If I'm making mistakes, you're still open to making those mistakes. So you're trusting that I'm doing a decent job of not making too many mistakes. I am. I'm doing a decent job. In this, the entire point is to build up your strength and presence to the point where you are in tune enough within yourself. You're in tune enough. You've dealt with enough of the noise. You've dealt with enough of your baggage. You've said no to enough of the mainstream pressures. There are a lot of pressures in a mainstream life that would have you buy into systems that just aren't good for you. I went out to dinner last night, and at this place, and I felt this current of energy coming through the waitress. Like, she was a little flirty. Waitresses could do that to be, whatever. It's the role they play. But I know I wasn't comfortable with it. I wasn't. And so I like tuned into it. And what I sensed was like immediately I get these stories and I see a whole like dimensional energetic thing. Her boss is kind of flirty with her in a way that's not comfortable. And her boss is getting pushed around by his landlord. His landlord pushes him in a way that's out of balance because the landlord's being kind of greedy. I happen to know that this particular landlord got a 10-year tax break to build a luxury high-rise with high-priced restaurants inside. 10-year tax break. Didn't need that 10-year tax break. That's like $2-3 million a year that the city could have had. I happen to know this. And I saw the whole pressure of the story. This is a person who's taking too much. When he interacts with his tenant who owns the restaurant, he's taking too much. He's asking for too much money. So then the tenant is asking for too much from customers. So the waitress has this pressure to ask us to buy more than we need, which goes against my own body's desire. And I fell for it a little bit. I set an intention and I passed it a little bit in terms of how much I ate. And I'm frustrated that I did that. Why does this matter? This is life. You're going out into the world and you're being pressed. You're being pressed by all sorts of forces, and they're absolutely spiritual. Spiritual isn't all good. Spiritual is the energetic presence of forces that push and pull at you. When you are consciously spiritual, you're becoming aware of these forces, which gives you influence over them. When you have influence over these forces, you can make more intentional choices. So you see it, you recognize what's happening. I got it, but I didn't put it together fast enough. And because I didn't put it, I should have not finished my hamburger. Basically, I got too rich a hamburger, and I should have not finished it. I should have not finished it, and I didn't. I finished it. So I stayed up later and meditated longer. So I had to make that choice in order to hold I had to digest my food a little better. I'd skipped lunch because I knew I was going out to dinner. Why am I telling you this? Because all of my choices influence you if you follow the practices I do. And I make mistakes like that. I don't want to imply that because I talk to Thoth, I do everything right and everything that I do is somehow perfect. I think a lot of teachers presence their strength, presence whatever's amazing about them, and then they aren't honest with what isn't amazing about them. And as a result, you end up having a false projection on them as something better than they are. And you think it's your fault when you eat the hamburger, not realizing that they ate the whole hamburger too, if that makes sense. Uh, by the way, Toth made me tell you that. I didn't want to, but I check in and he said, tell him. Something about Blue Angels that I'll add, by the way. The presence of the human story, human, hue, shades of color, was seeded. The seeds that were given to the early cultures were in keys of energy. I want you to look forward to more information on this, and it really matters because essentially there is a particular shade of blue. It's an indigo blue that was not given to humans. Wasn't given to us. Yellow was given to us. Red was given to us. Violet was given to us. Green was given to us. But this blue wasn't given to us. It's always been this way. And it's been this way because as the story has progressed, this is the way out. This is the way to transform the entire story. Now, the ancient Hindu gods are painted blue. Archangel Michael has always been the blue ray. This particular blue is the restoration of the purity of the planet. So the healing of the planet involves bringing this blue energy back to life and bringing this blue energy back to life in a way that dampens the fires. It's always been part of the story. So when you surrender into this, you are in many ways dissolving your heritage. You're dissolving the power of your heritage wherever you are. It works this way energetically. You have an understanding of Christianity, of Buddhism, of Hinduism, of shamanism, of rock music, of a capitalist dream to be a doctor or a businessman. All of these paths in life have an energetic foundation that were seated on keys of energy. When you focus in on this blue, it dissolves the importance of all the others. It was built into the system, like a thread you can pull to unravel the tapestry and leave you with the veil is taken off the story. And you can do this faster than your friends. You can do this faster ahead of other people. And when you do, you make sense of things that other people can't make sense of. And when you make sense of them in a way that embodies it within yourself, you begin to bring sanity into a crazy world. It's needed. You are needed. You are needed. You are needed to help make a sanctuary for others. And in order to do so, you have to help make a sanctuary within yourself. We're doing our best to make a sanctuary together. You're invited. We're going to move over to the sanctuary space we do a meditation with readings. And in that, we're teaching each other how to go deeper. I'm doing my best to offer everything I know and see to teach. And so much wisdom and insight comes through everyone. But ultimately, what we're doing is we're learning how to heal in a safe space. In 1 year of this growing, we haven't had any BS that goes beyond limits that I would accept. People don't fight, and we're going to learn to keep it that way. We're here to help each other in a way that the world needs much more of. So many people feel sick and overwhelmed and confused on a daily basis. So many dreams are frayed and falling apart. There's so much fear, legitimate fear from how subcultures are clashing, fires are burning, floods are coming, salt water is rising, ecosystems are dying. If you're not afraid, you're not aware. If you're not aware, you might fall into one of these pits. By maintaining a consciousness that is aware, that can feel the dirt and move out in the rain, you can help other people so much more. You help yourself. You know where to go. It's been raining more here. Heat all over the world. It's raining more here. If it's raining where you are, get out in the rain. Seriously, I take my shirt off. I go out in the rain like right away now. I just stand there and just feel it. It's unbelievable how good it feels. You just let it, feel it. This tunes you. This tunes you, and it helps you stay with it. So you're smart and you're wise and you know what to do with your life. Surrender everything else into this beauty. It's worth it. Aha, crafty trinket maker. Well, here's the thing, Tom. I always have something with you that I respect you so much that I don't necessarily feel like you need some of the things I have to say, but I do think you need me to say this over and over again. You have enough to teach. You don't have to teach everything. So to any extent that you're in doubt, I'm trying to offer the courses that you're taking. You teach this because this is what Thoth gave me to teach. It's not mine per se, but this is what he gave me to teach. I've been working on it for 10 years to clarify it. Working on it means I teach, that I ask him how to do a better job, that I teach, I say, what the hell do I do this problem? So what I'm giving you is the fruits of this. So start here, teach the standing flower, teach the basic way to read the 12 chakras. And that becomes a language that gives a form in which your other intuition and guidance, the things that are more true to you, come through. So he gave me this system to give to other people, so that ultimately you can teach them the dynamics of the yoga and the meditations. You can teach them the dynamics of learning to tune into the nose chakra. The nose tip teaches the guidance of day-to-day living. You can teach them how to tune into themselves and figure out more about what they need to be eating, how they need to be exercising. And within that, within the mechanisms of these teachings, you teach the standing flower, you teach the meditation, then you're also there with them. They're appreciating you. And a more personal guidance will come through. Things that are more true to you, things that will reveal to you that people who are ready to learn from you will be attracted to you. It's so beautiful. You don't need to control all of this. When you agree to play your role in the world, what you're asked to do is teach what you're good at. You don't teach what you're learning. Like, I'm at least 3 months ahead of anything I teach, at least. Most of the stuff I'm teaching, I've known for years and years and years. But when I start exploring a new yoga pose, I don't teach it for at least 3 months. I just get used to it. So you teach the stuff you're good at, and then you go deeper. That's how to do it. And Tom, you're way past. Hold on to us, man. You just bring your questions to us. We share together the concerns and confusions. I look forward to a time where we have a stronger and stronger circle of people saying, I'm taking care of this person, and this is what happened. And we ask each other for insight and support when it goes beyond the limits we've known. And that's what we're here for. And that's what a sanctuary is here for. And we're going to move over to the sanctuary. Hey, subscriber 2692, I keep being drawn back to say hello. Thank you for being here. I'm pleased to welcome you into this space. I hope you stick around. And if and when you're interested, check out the website, Wildflowerfire. We have a sanctuary space there. It's a subscription, but it's a safe space. It's really wonderful, and it's just starting to take off. Welcome here, all of you. Welcome here, everyone new. Thank you for being with us. I will see those of you in the sanctuary quite soon. I will see the rest of you over the course of the week. There's a beautiful new channel came through last week. If you haven't seen it, I really encourage it. The meditation's amazing. They just keep coming, and I'm really excited to see how the future unfolds. Much love. Be with you and your families.